DTS 67 and Trials was delayed, but for a good reason. All that and more coming up.
You're listening to Destiny the Show. Welcome, Guardians.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Destiny the Show. This is number 67. 67 weeks in a row that we've been going for this. My awesome co-host Ditty is here to join me. How are you doing today, man?
Doing very well. It's nice and chilly down here in the south.
What's it like, temperature-wise?
We wake up in the morning, it gets to 50, or starts at 50, and then just goes up to 70. So it's getting there.
Okay. We're getting cold at night, obviously. Colorado's, cooler. But yeah, this is my favorite season. We have like 3 weeks left before it gets really cold, and it's starting to snow in the high country, I guess. What did you do this week in the world of gaming?
Iron Banner, of course, and I think that's pretty much all I did, actually.
Oh, very nice. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I think I had a pretty good time, considering.
Considering Iron Banner, everybody's sweaty for the win.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got that rank 5 on Friday, and just a cool little feature over on destinytracker.com. You can go to, I think, a playlist query aggregator is the feature that it's called, and basically you can pick a certain playlist in the game. So let's say Control, I can pick start date Tuesday, end date Friday, find out my info for those games. And as it turns out, I played 55 games between Tuesday and Friday, and we won 38 of those games, and that's what got me to rank 5. That and doing the Iron Banner, all the weeklies, and all of the daily bounties each day. I don't know how much more accelerated it is as we get closer to reset, because that tempered buff is going to go up. But I just thought, cool little feature over on Destiny Tracker to see that. Thanks to everybody who we ran games with this week. If we versed you, if you were on our team, it was a good time. Really enjoyed it, and we'll talk about, I guess, our experiences in the topic today. Did you do anything else other than Iron Banner?
No, that was it. I am refusing to do the Nightfalls until the rewards are patched, which we'll talk about in a second. And I didn't have time to raid, so just Iron Banner.
I bet you we could get a raid going today or tomorrow. We should actually check after recording the show if we can raid today. I'm getting off topic. That was the only thing that I played this week. Oh, that and a little bit of Diablo 3.
Nice.
I'm trying to get that Blizzard account a little bit more active so that when the Overwatch beta comes out. Yeah, I just want them to see, Dragoon's got some playtime. In there. Side topic, Overwatch. I'm really excited about that. The beta is coming out October 27th, but it is a closed beta, and in the words of the BNet Blue post, the amount of people let into that closed beta will be extremely limited. So, judging by Blizzard's past, this is going to be friends and family only for a few months, and then more people will get invited in. If you haven't probably signed up for that beta, I would definitely do it. So,
I heard rumor of a console launch for that as well.
I don't know where that stems, because when they were doing the live stream with Elohim, people asked the devs about that in chat, and it was basically shot down. I think people are looking at the fact that the game does have controller support, and the controller support does have aim assist to aid people with controllers. So, I don't know. That would be crazy. Sense. Blizzard hasn't done a console game. I know Brood War was on the N64. There was a StarCraft release. You can play StarCraft on the Nintendo 64, Ditty. It's so crazy. You should YouTube it sometime. It looks, the control scheme, the whole thing, it's ridiculous. But why don't we hop into today's news?
Jumping in.
News!
Freestyling here. A quick shout out and congratulations to Unishek. He got hired at 343 Industries. That's the people who make, yay! Is that a clap?
Yeah, it is.
Nice. They're the people who make Halo now. A bunch of used to make it. 343 took over the mantle with Halo 4. They took it over actually midway through Halo Reach, but big shout out to Udashek. He's now the community coordinator. I don't really know what that means. He'll probably get yelled at a lot on Twitter from the fans of the game, but it's just cool to have somebody that we, both Ditty and I, know now working on Halo. Pretty crazy.
He's so passionate about that series, and it's such a dream job for him, and super congrats to him. And I think community coordinator, I think we can anticipate in terms of Destiny, like Cosmo at Bungie, something like that kind of job, just gathering all the community stuff and putting it in one place. I think maybe he might put some stuff on the Halo channel from the community. That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be great, man. I can think of nobody better for that position.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
into more Destiny-related stuff. The Bungie weekly update was so chock full of things. So let's track back before the weekly update release. Let's go to Thursday night. It's late. It's 5 p.m. We're waiting for that weekly update. Where is it? Why is it delayed? What happened in this week, Ditty, that set up the weekly update in regards to the glitch?
Shadowshot, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's so there's a glitch, obviously, with Shadowshot now. First it was the Titan hammers, now it's Shadowshot. You can infinitely shoot arrows as long as you have quiver, right? And it's completely game breaking, and so Bungie had to have many last minute meetings about, we need to address this in the weekly update because this is a major game breaking bug. It's easily abused in the Crucible, and Trials was set to launch this weekend, so they've actually decided to push back Trials for year 2 until the Shadowshot glitch is fixed.
Which, bravo. I think back to where we were a year ago in Destiny, and I don't think that same call would have been made. I don't think that Trials would have been delayed or an event like Trials would have been delayed. I'm really glad that they said, look, we're not going to let this fly. An endgame PvP activity like Trials should not be ruined by something like this. Now, in Iron Banner, I saw a lot of people doing the glitch. It's very easy to execute. And I can only imagine, if we would have gone through Trials this weekend, let's say I'm on 7 wins, and some team of Night Stalkers just pulled that out and you automatically are losing rounds because they have infinite Shadowshot,
Yeah.
I would be so salty. I would feel so robbed. And I'm just glad that Bungie put the foot down. They did what was probably an unpopular decision that caused other events that are planned down the road to be a little bit more delayed, to say, look, we're not doing this until we get a hot fix out. And they are working on a final fix for that bug. But instead of Trials, what did they announce in its stead that's coming a little bit earlier?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't fully read the update.
Oh, it has to do with KF, Oryx.
Oh, yeah. Hard mode, King's Fall. Duh. I thought it was some PvP related stuff, but yeah. Hard mode, King's Fall was announced October 23rd. So in just a week or so, right?
It's this upcoming Friday. So when listeners, if you're listening to the show on launch week, it's coming this Friday. Recommended light level, Ditty. What is the gear going to drop at? And all that info we need to know.
Recommended light is 300, and the gear is going to drop between 310 and 330.
Oh, yeah. We should also mention that there are now 330 attack weapons in the Destiny database. That went live, I think, this past Tuesday as well. So if you go and you look at the Year 2 exotics, they all have attack levels of 330. So it looks like the new max light level you can achieve is 330. I have not seen any of that stuff dropping yet, and I don't think Reddit has shown off any 330 weapons. Do you know?
No, I think it's going to be only from King's Fall hard mode. I think that would make the most sense.
Yep.
Because there are exotic drops in the raid. There are raid pieces. There's a separate set. I learned this last night, and it blew my mind. There's a separate set of weapons and armor just for hard mode.
Yep.
The Harrowed set. And yeah, I would expect that to drop at upwards of 330 light.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would think 330 would be the max. Let's say maybe it's like in between 320, 330, and then you can infuse that into your gear that you have now if you don't want to use the raid weapons. Total thought here. A lot of people speculated that the Harrowed, basically the hard mode versions of the weapons, were going to have elemental damage types to them. Do you think this is going to be the case, or do you actually think, these new raid weapons, the hard mode versions, will have different perk rolls?
I would definitely think that's a possibility. That at least the primary weapons, would add the elemental damage, because I'm trying to think, have there been any raid primaries that have not dropped with an element?
No, there's no primaries.
Not beforehand, and not before King's Fall. King's Fall is the first raid in Destiny that did not drop elemental primaries, and I think King's Fall hard mode would be where we find those.
Yeah. Well, it's also been intentional, too. Luke Smith commented saying that the Vault of Glass raid weapons were way too good.
True.
And so they're trying to scale it back. And world first people, best of luck. go quick and stream it away. Gothalion had 50,000 viewers when they're in the Oryx fight, which is just insane for like a singular streamer. So I bet hard mode's going to be similar levels of hype, maybe not the same, because hard mode's going to take probably less than the 8 hours that, like the full day it took people to do King's Fall. So more to talk about in the weekly update. They had some questions that they basically addressed and answered. Sunbreakers was the first one, and I'm going to quote here. It says, "Indeed, we hear you. We're looking at the data as well. It's too early to dig in and make any promises. We'll talk more soon once we get a full picture." So there's been a lot of complaints about Sunbreaker Super being very powerful in the Crucible. And as the quote states, they're going to look at the data and see if they make any decisions. The inference here is that a nerf will be on the way for Sunbreakers, but it's not confirmed, and you can take that text however you like. See, I'm learning how to speak to Sunbreakers a little bit better, because if I say anything like Sunbreakers might be getting a nerf, there'll be a lot of Sunbreakers who are angry at me. Well, read the update, take it the way you like. I play all 3 classes. I love all 3 classes. I want all 3 classes to live in a nice little harmony with one another. So,
yeah, it is a bit overwhelming when you play against Sunbreakers, and playing as a Sunbreaker is very enjoyable, but playing against it is not very enjoyable. I would say that, I totally forgot. Oh, yeah, okay, so I would say this. Let's look at the big picture here. Destiny's only been out for a month, right? And we just finished our first... That's what I said. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, I know what I mean. I know what you meant. Yeah.
Taken King's been out for a month, right? Sunbreaker class has been out for a month. And we just finished our first week of Iron Banner, which is the first experience we've had with a level-advantaged playlist in the Crucible.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I think everyone saw it coming, that Sunbreakers were going to be very strong. And now that we have the evidence and the data, Bungie can now look at that and plan accordingly to the balance changes, moving forward. So I think a lot of people, yes, it's going to be front-loaded criticism saying, Bungie, please nerf. But I think, once we have the big picture, we can say it's only a month that it's been out. So we still need to collect more data, I would think. And I think, man, I really hate to say this, but I wouldn't expect a Sunbreaker nerf before Trials at this point.
Yeah, I don't think so. They wouldn't do a major.
Because I think they would want to see Trials data for Sunbreakers as well before they implement any balance changes. But I'm not Bungie, so...
Yep. A lot of complaints this week of people not seeing Iron Banner rewards dropping in winning matches. Or I guess it's not winning matches, just dropping from playing in the Iron Banner playlist and completing matches. Well, legendary items will not drop until you reach rank 2 with Lord Saladin. And the higher you get in terms of your Iron Banner rank, the higher likelihood that you'll actually see weapons and items drop. So I played 55 games, like I said. I probably saw in that time 7 or 8 pieces of gear dropping.
Wow,
What's
really?
funny is, I got the pulse rifle. When I hit rank 5 Friday night, got the pulse rifle, been playing with it. Do you remember the name of it? I always forget what is it?
Nerwin's something.
Yeah. So I got Nerwin's. The next game I play, guess what drops at the end of the match for me?
Oh my god, you got another Nerwin's?
I got another Nerwin's. It was a horrible roll, but it was like, oh, Destiny, don't you go changing. You're just too good. So if you are disappointed that it's not dropping, you got to be ranked 2. It's still a dice roll, and it's not a very high probability because from what I'm hearing, me seeing 7 or 8 pieces of gear dropping in 50-plus games was kind of rare. Did you see anything drop, Ditty?
Nope. And I'll be honest, I only hit rank 3. So
okay.
It's still going to be RNG, it's still going to be a chance for it to drop. It's not guaranteed, but it seems, in my opinion, it would seem less likely that they've been dropping than previous Iron Banners. But,
yeah,
I didn't play as much, so I can't really speak for that.
In terms of the lag in Iron Banner, you want to surmise what they said here, Ditty?
They're working on it.
Yes. So
if
you're caught manipulating, you're getting in trouble. So if you've got a bad enough connection that's affecting the game, or if you're somebody who's manipulating network traffic, they'll put a temporary restriction on your account for all Crucible activity. And and they went live with this, I think, on Wednesday with this first wave of things. They have the same system in place for trials. If you have voice crack, great. If you have a really bad connection, right? I've not heard of somebody getting one of these bans unless your connection is just like absolutely horrific. We play with Australian people all the time who have very inconsistent connections who've never gotten one of these things. So I'm curious to know if there are any situations or users who've gotten one of these temporary bans who don't have that bad of a connection, you know?
Yeah, Bungie's technology seems to be very good in deciphering who is intentionally manipulating the network and who is unintentionally just has a bad connection and forcing the game to be bad.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't worry if you say, well, I just have bad internet. I really hope I don't get banned. It most likely you won't. If you're not intentionally pressing that lag switch, you're not going to get banned.
I have bad internet, no temporary bans. Nightfalls, dude, what's changing?
Man, they're working on the rewards. They understand, I said this earlier, Nightfall rewards suck, in my opinion. It's just not worth the effort. You know, ever since they removed the buff for the reputation and experience gains, it hasn't been worth it. Like my most recent Nightfall, I got 3 of coins and 2 strange coins. Yip-de-doo. I got 7 strange coins for 25 minutes of end game effort. Not worth it in my opinion. So I'm not going to touch the Nightfalls.
And no rep buff, dude.
And there's no rep buff to show for it. You know, at least when I got 12 or 9 strange coins for a Nightfall, I would get the reputation and experience buff. At least I would get something to show for my efforts. Now, no, because with the 3 of coins, it gave me 5 3 of coins, right? So I effectively got 7 strange coins.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you did this in-game content. Here's another 5 chances at maybe getting an exotic reward.
Yeah.
And I used all 5 of them. Didn't get a single exotic engram.
I miss the rep buff. It created this cool thing to do every Tuesday. And I know they said they didn't want
Blue Flames too.
Yeah, and the Blue Flame. Yeah, wait, is the Blue Flame still in the game?
No, because the Blue Flames was the Nightfall
The rep buff? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I just didn't realize that until now. I'd wondered why I didn't see it I liked the rep buff. I wager a lot of our listeners did too, because it was this cool reason to get on every Tuesday. And even if they do tweak the rewards, Ditty, I'm still missing that buff. I still want it back.
In my opinion, the only thing that they can make up for it is guaranteed 2 legendary items or better.
Okay.
Guaranteed.
I'm hopping on board. A little bit further, I can do without Blue Flame Helmet. I hope for Halloween that they actually give us more cool costumes. For people who weren't playing Destiny last year, really random thing happened on Halloween. Everybody got jack-o'-lanterns. 3 consumables where it'd make your head a jack-o'-lantern for like 30 minutes. I still have one. Jack-o'-lights. Yeah. They were so cool, right?
Yeah.
Why did they not do more?
Whenever you consumed them, your helmet was encased in this hive pumpkin, so you had 3 eyes, and it kind of made your screen kind of fuzzy and weird, and it was really cool. But the graphics for that were hilarious because, you know, different helmets would stick through, and it would be really funny. And they also had the flight of shadows, so whenever you spawned in anywhere, bats would fly around you, and it was pretty cool.
Back then, coins were way more important, so not a lot of people bought that crow thing, the little, what was it called?
The Flight of Shadows?
Yeah, that cost coins. And so back then, it's like, oh, I don't know if I want to buy that, you know, it's just a little cosmetic thing. I'm going to save my coins up for something I need. Yeah, like all the people who passed up buying it. So people data mined some consumables that they thought Tess would be selling that were related to King's Fall. Not only that, it looked like there was a consumable data mined that would instantly level up a subclass. Guess what? They're not doing it. Those files were actually uncovered a while ago. They are remnants from the past. They're not going to be sold. They're not going to be in the game. They were just things they were trying out a long time ago, and when they were brainstorming, you know, test microtransactions at the root of it. Did I cover it well, did he?
Yeah, so basically, Bungie is never going to put a microtransaction for something that would very blatantly affect gameplay. You know, you're not going to be able to buy, you know, $5 of real world money for increased exotic drop chance. It's just like real world 3 of coins. No, that's not worth it. So they said, no, we're not going to do that. Don't worry.
Yep. And then last but not least, strange coins and weapon parts and motes of light. They're dropping less, right?
Yeah, this was a really unexpected change. They nerfed the drop rate of weapon parts, and I don't even understand the reason why. They explained it in the weekly update, but I don't understand why they did it, because man, I was reading this post earlier today about he did like 30 strikes and only got 4 weapon parts out of that whole thing, and that's like, that doesn't really make much sense to me.
Did you know the Omnigol strike has a pulse rifle?
Yes.
Okay. Cool side story. That's the weekly update. Iron Banner damage explained, but first, 2 people beat Oryx. They 2-manned him, right? The final fight?
Yeah, Commander Questa and somebody else were in the final fight, but there were multiple people in the creation of this strategy. They 2-manned Oryx, man, the whole thing. So what would happen is, usually in the Oryx fight, you need those platforms and you need the brand to get the brand of immortality so that you could survive Oryx's wipe. Nah, Sunsingers, bro. So
of course,
you just stagger Oryx, first you kite the ogres together so their blights would be next to each other and have an overlap like a Venn diagram. And then you stagger Oryx. One person detonates 2 blights or corrupted lights at the same time, and then the explosion from that, it would still kill them, and then one Sunsinger would just revive.
Yeah.
And
okay.
Repeat, continue. And it makes sense. It's super clever. They don't even worry about the brand. It's just like, who cares? We don't need that.
The link for that is on the website, by the way.
Yeah, it's super clever and pretty awesome.
Indeed. You want to quickly explain Iron Banner damage? Again, this will be linked on the website. I'm not even going to venture to try and explain this math, but basically, senior designer Derek Carroll put out a nice update telling people how Iron Banner works now and how the light differences equals more power to you.
Yeah, so the title of this is Power Still Matters. So with the rework of the light leveling system, it's a little bit less clear as to how your damage is reduced in level advantage playlists like the Iron Banner. So for example, I'm 310 light, right? In this fantasy world, right? If you are 308 light, you're going to be doing 5% less damage to me because you're 2 light levels under me. That's how the damage reduction is going to work. So every 2 light levels that you're down is going to be 5% less damage taken or given.
That's interesting. Well, I noticed it with the Red Death. There was some times where I'd leave a guy with just a sliver, man. Just a tiny sliver. Because I was playing Iron Banner this week at like 298, 299 light. I didn't have a lot of stuff super infused, but I'm imagining there's like those 307 or 306 players who are like, I'll take 5% less, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I noticed you were under 300 light for the whole Iron Banner, and I'm like, you're still top of the leaderboard, top 3, and you're still putting up good numbers, so it doesn't really matter that much. And so I say this, 2 light levels under is 5% less damage. That's until 15 levels under. If you're more than 15 levels under, that damage reduction is a very steep curve. So it's just like from level 15 to 16, you lose like 10% damage instead of just 5. So it's a little bit more drastic there.
I feel like people were prepared. I don't think I've faced like anybody under 280. So
no, I mean, there was this one dude, props to this guy, sticking with the icebreaker. On Twilight Gap, he ripped my face off so many times with this 170 attack damage icebreaker, and he was only like 284 light, and I'm 303 or something, 302, and he's ripping my face off, and I'm like, oh my god, put it down, it's so annoying.
I remember that game. You're like, icebreaker. Like you couldn't believe it. I was like, really? What?
I died and it exploded like icebreaker, and I was like, what? And then I saw the icebreaker, and I was just mind blown. We lost that game. I was so dumbfounded.
Those medallions always look nice. You just don't want to hold too many of them at a time. So glass needles. It's a new item that Xur just is like, hey, I'm selling this now. Okay, cool. what are glass needles? How does it work with what is it? Twisted something? Twisted Fate. No, Twist of Fate. There we go. Yeah.
It's something. It basically it allows you to re-roll exotic armor perks. So say I have Crest of the Lupi or Light Beyond Nemesis for the Warlocks, and it's full strength, right? And I never run strength. I can just use this consumable and switch that. I can re-roll the perks on that. It can be, and if it also gives reduced damage to Void element, I can re-roll that. It can be Intellect Discipline and with solar damage. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that makes more sense. That fits my subclass a little bit better. So that's basically what it does.
Yeah. I don't think I'll be doing much of this until I get near the end of Taken King, where we're like interested in min-maxing. You know, this is pretty like, all right, I've got the exotic that I want, but I just want to get the exact roll. So here's Zer, let me throw some more coins your way. You know,
it's actually really funny you mentioned min-maxing, because by the second or third week of Taken King, I had my tier 5 intellect discipline roll, and I've been using that armor the whole time because I love 25-second grenade cooldown, and it's amazing. But now that I have that, I can't equip any other armor because I can't lose that tier 5. But now with this, I can finally introduce a new exotic armor piece to my rotation.
Totally. Let's hop into the topic.
Salvaged relic data is now decrypted. Not of consequence.
Evening, Guardian. Earn your honor, Guardian.
Titan survey data requested by Vanguard.
So as we close out here, real briefly, I want to talk about hard mode theories, and maybe if we have a little bit of time at the end, our experience with Iron Banner. Hard mode, it's coming out on Friday, Ditty. What do you think's changing? Do you think there'll be new bosses? How do you think the fights are going to do? Just a brief speculative overview.
I think the typical hard mode changes we can expect are no revives available. All cursed thralls and knights are going to be hallowed. If they're red bar, they're going to turn into yellow bar, so they're going to be a little bit harder to kill. One that's a little bit more detail oriented in the jump puzzle with the ships. When you get to that first checkpoint ledge, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The ship that brings you there, it flies up right next to the next ship you need to jump on, and they spawn simultaneously, or they despawn and spawn simultaneously. I actually kind of want to see that platform disappear, so people who need to jump on that platform, you'll need to jump on the ship to ship instead of jumping to the platform to the ship to get that checkpoint. Something like that, cool. I don't really expect, but I think it would be really cool.
I am hoping there's a secret boss. I don't think there will be. I honestly don't. But I didn't think Black Spindle was going to be a thing. One? We don't know. That the basketball room, man. I don't believe for a second the basketball room was just an Easter egg. I think that's Luke Smith trolling. But maybe I'm wrong.
One of the Pineapple Boys said this when we were doing the raid one time in that jump puzzle that I was just talking about. Put a big flying echo of Oryx or something in the middle of that arena. So while you do the jump puzzle, you have to do a boss fight. That would be hilarious.
That'd be cool. Oh, a jump puzzle boss fight would be so frustrating with randoms. Oh, but it'd be so fun. Well, I think people are going to have it beaten in about 3-4 hours, unless I'm totally wrong. But I feel like we've gotten it down to a real nice, smooth 1-hour raid at this point, and I'm sure there's people who are doing it in like 40 minutes, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the world record, like a week after it launched, was like 45 minutes, 42 minutes, something like that.
It's a community, man. They are driven. Iron Banner experience, if you don't have any other hard mode speculation stuff, what'd you think of IB?
Iron Banner is pretty good this time around, I think. A lot more weapon diversity.
Yeah.
The only weapon frustration is still going to come from the shotguns, because at this point, it's like, I know they're effective and I still get frustrated, but before, when we had blink shotguns, we also had Thorn to complain about, and Thorn was just the easiest one to complain about. But now it's just like, okay, shotguns, it's like, come on, man. There are other weapons you can use, and I understand that, snipers, they'll take a little bit more skill. because they're so precise, and fusion rifles are not as effective as shotguns because by the time the fusion rifle charges up, you're in shotgun range anyways.
Yep.
And then it's just like, I just really liked the weapon diversity. You know, I saw a lot of pulse rifles, a lot of scout rifles, to be honest. That raid scout rifle, whatever that's called, I got absolutely destroyed by that multiple times. And I was very impressed by how well that performed. And then auto rifles, yeah, not as much Hawkmoon as I expected.
I had a lot of Hawkmoon games. There were definitely a lot of people there. My main setup for Iron Banner was Red Death, the Irene Sniper, and an HMG. I really wish I had a nice Year 2 rocket launcher. I do have a Year 1 Truth, so I'm thinking of just buying the Year 2 blueprint for Truth. I loved Iron Banner. I thought this was great. I think you bring up a good point with weapon diversity. The fact I wasn't having to deal with the damage over time or Thornpocalypse changed the whole event for me.
Yeah.
I loved it. I mean, there were some days where it was really hard, but once I kind of got settled into a rhythm, basically past rank 3.5, rank 4, and especially like, even though I hit rank 5, I've still been playing Iron Banner with other people as they're working towards it. I just love Iron Banner, man. It's like, it's sweaty and it's hard because people actually care about winning more so than the regular Crucible days. People on your team, people on their team. And so while it can be really frustrating, it raises your level up so much. I was playing with a bunch of Australian guys who were like all stupidly high on the leaderboards for Destiny tracker stuff. And so the opponents that you're going against were trashing me. I mean, a lot of these players were just superstars, man. Incredible snipes and not dropping shot strings left and right. But that forced my game to have to improve. Otherwise, you just get blown away. In a lot of matches I was, but going back, I'm sure playing regular Crucible is going to be a real difference. I just like that there's a difference between the two of them. Iron Banner has a feeling. It's not just the level advantage. It's the fact that people care about winning. Loved the event, but I am looking forward to Trials. I'm really curious to see what Trials is going to be like. Hopefully, you know, once Shadowshot is goodbye. I mean, the glitch, not the whole super altogether. But.
Yeah, once that glitch came out, I was like, and even before that glitch was exposed, I really didn't like using Quiver on my Shadowshot or on my Night Stalker because it didn't feel consistent enough. So to be honest, I actually switched to Black Hole because the tether range on that is just insane. Heavy weapon's going to spawn. I'm just going to tether the heavy weapon box, and anybody that walks next to it is going to be tethered instantly as soon as they drop down next to it. And then they're not going to escape because they're tethered. And so I found a surprisingly amount of success with using Black Hole on the Night Stalker class. I was using Apple of Discord Still Piercer, which is the gunsmith rank something sniper rifle. And what's it called? I forget, but I was using the Raid rocket launcher because it's a 307, so I needed the light level, and I also got the Suros rocket launcher from this past Arms Day. With like Nays and Horseshoes with almost max blast radius and velocity, so it's pretty good. So I was having a lot of success with that as well.
Excellent. Well, where can people find your content, man?
Twitter.com/Ditty DTS, DITTY DTS, and YouTube.com/Wooshness, WOOOSHNESS.
Remember to check out our friends over at DestinyTracker.com for all the best stat tracking features in the world of Destiny. You can check our website out at DestinyTheShow.com or on Twitter at DestinyTheShow or on Twitch.tv/DestinyTheShow. You can follow me at BBKDRAGOON on Twitter, and I'm also BBKDRAGOON on YouTube. And I'm going to try and have a review of the Nerwin within the next day or so, because I played a lot of games with that once I got it. I really like that rifle. I'm not going to reveal too much about it, but it was definitely worth the purchase, I think. And shout outs to the listeners. You guys rock. Thank you for keeping this such a fun thing for Ditty and I to do every single week. And tweet us your thoughts, questions, cool topic ideas, because we do read each and every one of them. So have a wonderful week, and we'll talk with you next time, Guardians.